Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so just a real quick announcement. If you don't see this video early Monday, which is normally when I release it, and I know there's a lot of people who, are used to watching it early on Monday. I'm running a little bit behind. I normally film early on Sunday, and then that gives me the rest of the day to edit and get it uploaded, and then I just release it on Monday mornings. Unfortunately, my starter went out on my car this weekend, and I've been working on that now for 2 days. Oh my goodness. I've got a Honda Element, and the starter is ridiculous. You can't get to it without almost taking apart the whole engine. It was ridiculous. Took me 2 days. I had to actually call a friend in to help me because I couldn't do it. But we finally got it done, so it's working. All right, so we got that done and out of the way. So it may be later Monday after I get home from work before I can get everything edited and uploaded. Just want to give you a little warning. All right, so let's do my normal update where I'm at right now in my reading, the second week of spooky season. Of course, I'm still doing my read along. This is book 4, Cibola Burn. And in the Expanse series, I am 360 pages through this. It's going good. We'll talk about this. We'll do a separate video on this when that's done. Exorcist. I have not read any more of The Exorcist. I'm still, 150 pages in here, 156 pages in The Exorcist. I held off on this because I really wanted to get through the 2 Ira Levin books, which we'll talk about in this video. So, still haven't done any more in this. I did finally find my copy of Legion, the second book in the Exorcist series. So we'll be getting that done too. And of course, next week I'm going to do In the Night Room by Peter Straub. Just because, he passed away in September. He's a spooky writer, and I just would like to get a Peter Straub book in. So that's going to be read next week. And then the last week of spooky season will be The Exorcist and Legion. So we'll get that started. Now, what did I finish? I finished Rosemary's Baby. I also did finish the second book, Son of Rosemary. So these are the 2 we're going to talk about. I did pull these out here. The Stepford Wives by Ira Levin. I read this, it just happened that I read this about 2 years ago before I started my channel, so I haven't done this on the channel. And you'll see a theme here. Do you see his books are not very long? They're small books. This, The Boys from Brazil, is one of my favorite novels. I haven't read this in years, so we're going to have to get back to this one. Really, really good book. But again, not a tremendously huge book. And I love that about Ira Levin. Look at these. Rosemary's Baby, Son of Rosemary. I can't hold it. Son of Rosemary. They're not big books. And that's what I really appreciate about Ira Levin and his writing style. He is straight to the point. He knows the story. He knows the story he wants to tell. He tells it, and he doesn't have any fat or extraneous plots in there. He just tells his story and lets you enjoy it. And it is a joy to read his novels. This one, Rosemary's Baby, is his second novel. His first novel was A Kiss Before Dying, which I haven't read, but I'll have to get that one. But let's talk about this one. So the numbers on this was first published in 1967. My copy of this book has 245 pages, And on Goodreads, it's a 4.02, which is pretty good. I think 4 or higher is usually pretty good, from what I've found. Of course, they could be all over the place. I won't get into Goodreads, but I just give, so you have an idea. So what is this story about? Well, it's pretty cool. You can kind of see on the cover here, this Gothic style building. So that's pretty cool. I like the front of it. I'm sorry. A darkly brilliant tale of modern deviltry that, like James' Turn of the Screw, which we just read last week, which I didn't like, induces the reader to believe the unbelievable. I believed it and was altogether enthralled. Truman Capote. So that's pretty cool. I'm just going to set it down here. Rosemary's Baby. So what is it about? Well, it's about this woman, Rosemary, of course, Woodhouse, and her husband, Guy. So guys, they're a young couple, recently married, and he's an actor in New York City. You know, he's trying to do whatever he can, plays, musicals, commercials, whatever he can get his hand into, he's trying to do. But they're looking for a bigger place to live because eventually they want to have children. So the little apartment that they're living in now is his apartment, and it's too small and cramped, so they're looking for a bigger place. Anyways, they go through that process. They have a line on a place, but then this other place becomes available, and Rosemary really likes that place because it's old-fashioned and it's beautiful and got history. And so they somehow get to move into this place. Someone passes away and they get to take their apartment. This place is called the Bramford. Now, while they go through the book, they call it the Bram, whatever. I'm sure that's evocative of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which, without giving too much away, does play a part in the second book, Son of Rosemary. Maybe we'll talk about that after this one. But anyways, the problem is, though, that this place has a bad reputation. And one of Rosemary's best friends, this guy Hutch, he kind of I don't know if he knows she's young and she's excited and everything, but he kind of wants to push her away from this building because it just has a bad reputation. He says it's almost like, you know, a black cloud is over the place all the time. And he tells her about the history of this building. He's an older gentleman who's lived in the city for a long time and knows everybody and everything, right? He's one of those guys. He's pretty cool. He's all right. But anyways, he tells her there's been death, murder, suicides, several suicides, cannibalism, witchcraft, demonology, and worst of all, Satanism. All these things are rumored to be taking place or have taken place in this old Gothic styled building for years and years and years. And so he kind of just gives her a warning, you know, maybe you might want to go to a better place, a nicer place. Well, that's the problem. She didn't like, they did have a line on an apartment complex in a new building, and it was too new for her, too antiseptic, too clean lines, and she likes this old building. So anyways, they move into the old building and quite quickly meet their neighbors, and their neighbors are Minnie and Roman Castevet. They play a big role in the story. I'm not going to give all the names. There are actually a lot of different players in this story. Those are the main ones right there. Rosemary, of course, her husband Guy, her friend Hutch, and the Castevets, Minnie and Roman, play the biggest roles in this building. But so I'm not going to give it all away. Basically, it's another kind of gothic-y horror, which takes place in the 60s. So right around, pretty much the time that he published this in 67. Now, I'm just going to say it is awesome. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. It is just, like I said, short and straight to the point. There is no fat on this. It is intriguing. There's a little intrigue in it, kind of. The Cassavetes are these older, people in their 70s, and of course they're a young couple, and Rosemary doesn't think that they really should maybe be friends with them because she has her own younger friends that she wants to stay with. But for some reason, Guy gets really attached to this older guy, Roman, and starts wanting to go over to his place all the time. So they start going over there, and she feels almost like they're smothering them, like they're trying to be their parents. But Jesus, this book is great. I don't want to give anything away if you have not read it. Now, of course, this in the lexicon of horror is probably way up there. The movies, the different movies that they've made, the one really good movie, of course, Roman Polanski did, and Mia Farrow, of course, was in it. But I just recently watched the other night. I watched this. It's a 2-part kind of movie. They're both an hour and a half long, so it's like a full movie. But with Zoe Saldana, did kind of put a new spin on it, kind of like the recent turn of The Screw or Bly Manor and House on Haunted Hill. Did her own little thing with it. This one takes place in France, and her husband Guy is not an actor. He's actually a writer, and very similar, but the Cassavetes are much younger. Anyways, I don't want to give anything away if you have not read this. Everyone probably has, I know, but man, what a great, I just can't say it enough. I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 5 on Goodreads, and for spooky season, oh my gosh, and like I said, it's 145 pages, and it's a quick read, but it will maybe make your toes curl a little bit. It'll make you maybe look in the corners a little bit if you're reading in a dark room on a stormy night, which you should. I can't gush about this enough. I really like this book. I read it a long time ago, and I'd forgotten how good it was. But anyway, so this is awesome. I'm going to stop talking about this. Now we're going to go on to Son of Rosemary. All right, let's do the numbers. So this book originally was published in 1997. My version has 255 pages, so 10 pages more than the original book, Rosemary's Baby. And on Goodreads, it has a 2.54 rating. So 4.02, 2.54. All right, so obviously it is the sequel to Rosemary's Baby. Now this book takes place in 1999. Now, at this point, Rosemary is now 58 years old, and at the beginning of the book, she wakes up from a coma. So, she has been in a coma now for 27 years. Andy, her son, Rosemary's Baby, is 33 years old now. So, around the time, I believe he's like 5 or 6-ish, she suddenly goes just falls into a coma. 27 years later, she wakes up from a coma. Andy's 33, and nobody knows who she is. She was put into this facility that has taken care of her, has been paid off by the coven, or basically the Castavets, who basically took over raising her son Andy. Now, at this point, they've all passed away. Everybody that was in the coven in the original book has finally passed away, and she wakes up and comes out of this coma. She is looking around, and everybody's wearing these pins, you know, these things on their clothes that are pins that say "I heart Andy," "I love Andy." And she's like, "Oh, that's funny. That's the name of my son." And then the nurse puts on the TV, and this dude Andy is everywhere. He's become very famous, and he is gorgeous. He looks very similar to another famous person went by the name of Jesus. So interesting. And she's watching these commercials, and it's her son. So she's like, "Oh my God, that's my son." And they're like, "Sure he is." And she tells him she is, and then they contact his people because he's now famous and running this organization that is basically trying to transform the world from being evil and bad to being good. He is like this savior. He's like, I don't know, Jim Baker, 700 Club or something crazy like that. He's the head of this church movement that is spreading throughout the whole world, and it's supposedly doing great things. She's impressed. They get a hold of his people. He asks her a question over the phone to prove who she is. She proves who she is, and yes, of course, lo and behold, Rosemary is Andy's baby. She goes and meets him. He lives in this huge towering building in New York City, and he's running this organization. His name is just all over the place. I'm not going to go too much into this book. Again, it's only 255 pages. It was exceedingly boring at the beginning. It gradually got a little better. Her interactions with Andy actually make her become famous, so now people are wearing "I love Rosemary" pins and "I love Andy" pins, and they're this new, the best thing in the world. And she goes on TV shows and things, and everything she says is so awesome. But it's really strange. It's really weird. He tries to have sex with her several times. Because, he's the son of you-know-who, and everything with him is just lustful and amazing and beautiful, and so is his mother, and he wants to be with his mother. It's a weird story. I don't know what happened with this. I mean, it's like 30 years since he published Rosemary's Baby, and he did this, Son of Rosemary. I don't know if it was a money grab or something. It does have a little twist at the end. I know I'm being really vague with this book, but there is a little twist at the end that I really enjoyed. Actually, it did have a little bit of a build-up, although you see it coming from, the beginning of the book, pretty much. You see where it's going, but it does have a little twist at the end, which was exciting. I really liked. That was probably the best part of the book, but I'm going to tell you what the best, and this is the best part of the book. I hope this doesn't take me too much time to find this. So in this book, there are 18 chapters, and this is the 18th chapter. 6 plus 6 plus 6. That's the best thing of this book. Now, I'm going to say this right now. So, if you do not want to hear a spoiler, I have a problem with that. I just talk about books. I think if I say, hey, this book is about a 17-year-old kid, that's a spoiler. But I don't want anybody to get on me, but I am going to tell you this because I don't want you reading this book. Nobody should waste their time or their money reading this book. It really hurts my heart because I showed you these other books by Ira Levin, and they're freaking awesome. He even did a play called Death Trap. He wrote a play called Death Trap. I'm a little bit of a theater geek, and that's one of my all-time favorite plays. They even made it into a movie with Michael Caine and Diane Cannon and Christopher Reeve in '82. I freaking love the movie. So I love his writing, but this is god awful. It's not worth your time and effort. Yes, again, if you're a completionist and you want to read everything by Ira Levin, you're going to get this and read it. But I'm going to tell you a spoiler because I don't want you to read it. I'm going to tell you the end of the book. The end of the book, she wakes up and it's all been a dream. Oh, not just this. This as well. The whole thing has been a dream. She had a nightmare because she fell asleep while she was reading Bram Stoker's Dracula. I can't make this up. It's worse than Dallas. If you all remember Dallas, you're kind of dating yourself. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's not good. It got a 2.54 on Goodreads, and I don't think it deserves that. Just the way he just totally kind of ripped people off. It's difficult reading too. Even as short as it is, some of the sentences, I don't know if he was, I don't know. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to say he was going senile or something. But even some of the sentence structures are really wacky. His cadence changes throughout the book. He'll start down one line of thought and kind of jump to something else in the middle. It's disjointed. It's not good. And with an ending like that, oh my God, it makes you want to throw the book across the room that you just wasted even that much time reading this book. Rosemary's Baby. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Please, if you haven't read it, read it. Even if you think you know it, you've seen the movie, read the book. It's awesome. Son of Rosemary, please don't read this book. It's horrible. It's awful. All right, guys, that's all I have for you now. Next week, we're going to be going to Peter Straub. So I'm anticipating that. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping. But anyways, if you all enjoyed anything that you see here, please like and subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And you know I love the comments so much. So please keep them coming. All right, guys. Peace out.